It's all things MMA for scoreline.ie and KCLR. My name is Ken McGuire, joined on screen, as always. Hand is going the right direction this time, over there.
I had to think about that for a second. I've been on point the last few weeks for that.
Miles Price,
Ken,
Team Ryano Kilkenny. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Looking forward to the Christmassy season now. It's only a few weeks away.
Of course you are.
I'm a Christmassy guy.
You're a great, yeah. You strike me as a Christmassy guy, somebody who just likes to embrace, the big white fluffy beard and the hot chocolates and all of the trimmings that go along with Christmas. That's great.
All the celebrations, to try all the boxes. What's your favorite chocolate box?
Oh Jesus! This is catching me on the hop now here, because it's been a topic of debate. I would probably go for celebrations first.
Yeah, celebrations. It's hard. And what in the celebrations? What's the ones that, do you know the way there's always some left at the end of the box? Which ones would you avoid?
Oh God. I go for three. So I go for three that I have to have, and then after the rest of them, I don't mind. So I will dive headfirst in to find the Maltesers ones.
Yeah.
Then I will go for the Galaxy Caramel ones, and then, because nobody else will eat them, I will eat all of the bounties.
Oh, bro, come on! What do you mean? That's my first choice. I'm all bounty train, bro. I'm all in that.
I didn't know I was talking to another bounty bro. So
our connection has just gotten deeper.
All these years later, it's just like, I can't believe he likes bounties. Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Look, I'll get it next time we catch up in person. I'll bring some celebrations. But look, it's been I think 2 weeks since we last spoke, and in the time since, now you've been out to Italy, you've been home again. You were over there for the IBJJF Europeans in Rome. And you had two competitors going out from the gym. You had Keith Jordan going out, and you had Ryan Mangan, who, heavens above, his star continues to rise on the scene, and he did really well. So break it down for me. What happened in Rome?
So it was just a great week of competing. Really, it's a great week for me as a coach and as like a spectator of the sport as well. I feel like when I'm there, I'm not just there to support my team, but I'm also there to see what other teams are actively doing as well, and other players are actively doing. Because I find it interesting. You know what I mean? Usually, I think when you get experienced in martial arts, that a lot of the things that you learn from a lot of different avenues. But for me, I learn a lot from watching people compete. What are they turning to for their go-tos? What are they using as a collective team, and they're working with a collective team, and I may or may not use it, like depending on what we're working with as well. So
is this like techniques, like match tactics, like chains of things, or?
Yeah, for me as a coach, I feel like that tactics and concepts, they ring a lot truer than the fancy new techniques. Fancy new techniques are good, but if they're not used with solid concepts and principles and fundamentals and tactics, as you finally put it there, it's not going to really follow through very well. So I'm mainly looking at stuff like that. But as a whole, it was a great week. Keith did well. We actually kind of go as a little community. There's a kind of a community of gyms that we train with, like Attic BJJ in Carlow. There's SBG Tullamore with Kieran Davern's gym. We would have met up with them over there. There's Royal Grappling Academy, which is a Marcelo Garcia affiliate in Dublin that we meet up with as well. And we all that's kind of our circle of gyms that we train with, and we met with a few HQ guys as well. So it was really nice experience. It's work though, it's, for me, I try and not drift into the holiday feel. I try and keep, focused as I can, because it is work. It's my job at the end of the day, so yeah, I try and stay focused on what's important, and that's taking notes and being there for my students. And yeah, that's it really. But Ryan did an amazing job. Keith did well too, but he made a little mistake with his with a technique, because there's a lot of rules in IBJJF, but it's the governing body of jiu-jitsu. It's the world kind of one, that world recognized one, so you have to kind of play the game and compete in those competitions a lot too. And yeah, I feel like, and I'm not just saying this from a biased point, but I feel the likes of Ryan, if people knew how competitive IBJJF Jiu-Jitsu is, it's absolutely insanely competitive. And Ryan played the game beautifully. He showed, I think Ryan embodied something that I'm always trying to embody. And when students do embody this concept, they really do achieve great things. And it's that it's not the gym that you train at, it's the training itself. Ryan does everything within his power to become a better version of himself. And sometimes he takes 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, or 3 or 4 steps back in order to take, 3, 4, 5 steps forward. It's a necessary process. It's not linear, it's circular improvement. And he went in there, and it's just me really in the corner with Ryan. And in the finals, he went up against, a guy that has over 100 IBJJF matches on him, and Ryan has 3, because that's usually not the rule set that Ryan competes under. And that guy, I know him well because we used to train with him a lot, but we don't anymore. But he trains with a very good team, and he trains full time in America with Keenan Cornelius, who's a huge jiu-jitsu name. So that's his life, and it's Ryan's life also. But to see, somebody from a small town of Kilkenny go up against a guy that has everything at his feet, he everything is handed to him in regards to, no financial stress, has a huge support network, massive team. And did it make any difference? No, because Ryan believed in his coach, he believed in his gym, he believed in himself, more importantly, and he had faith in the process. And it was literally like, it could have went any way, that match. It was literally came down to the last minute, and Richie came out the victor. But sometimes when you win, you lose, and sometimes when you lose, you win. And in that match, Ryan definitely came out the more confident athlete. You could see it. You could see it in his opponent's face that he felt like with everything that he has to his advantage, he should have done better. And that's not the case. Like, it's not as linear as that, It comes down to the individual and how they're making the most out of their journey and their process. That's what it comes down to,
And of course, now you have a European silver medalist knocking around. That's not a bad thing to have.
Yes, and it does matter as well what division it's in and what belt grade it's in as well. Like, the adult brown belt division is absolutely stacked. And we had this discussion as well before, that brown belts are black belts and purple belts are brown belts and blue belts are purple belts in jiu-jitsu competition. It's very, 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 very competitive.
So next up then is going to be the Worlds. So that's coming up that's barely 3 weeks away.
So, and the guy that Ryan competed against in the final, he got a bronze at the Worlds last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if the two of them were in the finals this year.
Wow. Okay. Do we know draws yet, or is that kind of something that's done kind of closer to
the competition? That'll be
okay.
drawn up.
And both Ryan and Keith will travel to compete again. Is there anybody else going, or?
No, we're going to have a much bigger team next year, but this year, because there's there's a few. I make the decision on who's really ready to compete in the likes of the Europeans, and who, because it's a long process. It is like, it's not just something you can just go, last second I'll do it. It's not like that at all. You need to do a camp before the camp. Like we did a camp on the lead up to the European camp. We we did an 8-week lead up to a 3-month camp into the Europeans.
Wow.
Like that's how much of preparation it needs, you know. And that's why Ryan got the result he did. It's that simple, you know. It doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of months of preparation.
I'm guessing then as you get more into competition, not and this isn't a prying thing. This is a kind of a general maybe information point for people as well, that this stuff is obviously or can obviously get expensive, because you know you're flying out, you're heading off. You're saying like Ryan goes up against a guy that has all of this handed to him, or has a lot of these resources at his disposal. But for those that are looking to get into competition for the first time, be it on the Euros, be it in, you know, the Worlds, you've got planes, you've got hotels, you've got travel, you've got insurance, you've got to take time away from work, or time away from the gym, or time away from other stuff. Like it's a serious commitment.
It is a serious commitment. It's a lot of money, especially to be a jiu-jitsu player. But it comes around in circles, you know. Like Ryan, let's just say, for instance, this. It's not as easy as being a pro or an amateur athlete. It comes down to your reputation means everything. Your reputation is your capital, you know. Like Ryan, and that's well deserved. Like Ryan, literally, he has more people that want to do private training with him now, because he obviously is doing very well in competition. He's expressing his martial arts. He's showing what he's capable of doing, and people want to be part of that. They want to train with somebody that's doing very well in competition. He just did his first seminar last week, and he's been asked to do. He's been asked to do another 3 seminars since. You know, so it like there's people racking in looking to feed off Ryan's knowledge, because you know that's what people like to do. Like they like to be connected to something like that, you know. So it really comes down to, yes, it's expensive, but it comes around in a circle. Like, you know, Ryan lives the lifestyle. It's worth it, because these competitions give him the reputation that gives him exactly what he deserves, to make a living from something he works so hard to achieve.
Another thing that has kind of flown across the radar in the last couple of days, you had Andy Ryan down to the gym.
Oh yeah.
You got your kids grading and everything else done and dusted. How are things there?
Yeah, it was great. We had a super seminar as always with Andy Ryan. Yeah, he's a great friend of mine, and he's a super head coach, Andy, you know, and it's just a treat to have him down every time, especially when he shows his judo skills, because he's a legend on the judo scene, as well as MMA and BJJ. But you know, judo is really where he excels sport-wise, you know. And yeah, it was like every time I do a kids grading, it just touches my heart. It really does. Like, you know, to see the kids enjoying themselves so much, doing what you know, I would have only dreamed of seeing when I started off doing martial arts. And you can see that. What I'm impressed with, I'm impressed obviously with head juniors coach John Benzer and John Paul Soames, who put absolutely everything into the kids, into helping them become better versions of themselves and competitors. You know, like they're great competitors now. You know, they took a long time to build the kids to where they are now. But what impresses me the most is there's some kids that I see when they come in, and they're just they're finding it hard to build that integrity, you know, to build the sharing with others, helping with others, you know, taking loss and failure a little bit better. And some kids just fall apart with that, you know. And it's not the kids that do super well. Well, it is, of course, that has to be acknowledged too. But it's also the kids that become better versions of themselves throughout the transition of their journey in jiu-jitsu, you know. That's what impresses me the most in regards to not just jiu-jitsu as a sport, but the time and effort that the coaches are putting into the kids as well. Because I'm not interested in the flashy social media martial arts, because it doesn't necessarily, it's a risk when you're running being that type of individual, because you're always influencing envy and narcissism when that's happening. You have to be so careful, and you have to make sure that you're keeping things in check all the time. What I'm interested in is the students that change as people from juniors all the way to adults, so that they can blossom into the best versions of themselves no matter what they do in their lives. And I'm seeing that at the junior level, and it's just fantastic to see, you know. And obviously for all of them to get their grades at the weekend that they very much so deserved was just great, like, you know.
Moving on from there, when we last spoke again, we were taking a very quick look at and this is more to kind of to recap and get your take on events that have unfolded in the last 2 weeks. We had a quick look at the UFC 281 card, and a couple of weeks back, I could have been around the UFC 280 side of things. We had made these wild predictions, and every one of them absolutely stank. And then when it came to 281, it seems that our predictions were way more on the money this time, which is
what did I say? What did I say again?
Which is you might have to rewind the tape a little bit. I don't know if I can give you too much credit for this one.
Okay.
But we had looked at Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler's fight in particular, reckoning that this was going to be an absolute barn burner. Had the potential to be certainly to be fight of the night and potentially fight of the year. But we saw a couple of surprises. Women's strawweight side of things, Zhang Weili came out with an almighty game plan and had every answer to every question Carla Esparza could ask. And Carla didn't look great. And the result is we've got ourselves a new women's strawweight champion, and it's Zhang Weili for a second time, which has the potential to coax Joanna Jędrzejczyk out of retirement to have a second crack at Zhang Weili and see if she can, you know, get her hands on the belt one more time. But the two big ones that we put kind of all the eggs in the basket of was Israel Adesanya's fight against Alex Pereira and
that was good.
Poirier and Michael Chandler. As a result, we've got like a very clear, very very big decision for somebody to make in the lightweight side of things, and we've got ourselves a new middleweight champion as well. Were you surprised at all with the outcomes?
Yes, I'm just laughing at Humphrey here. He's jumped on the podcast. Look.
Oh, you did that.
I do. Yeah.
And his name is Humphrey. That's class.
Humphrey, yeah. What was I going to say? I'm pretty sure I could have mentioned that Alex Pereira has the knockout power to finish him, but I thought that Izzy was going to like win a decision. That sounds probably like what I would have said.
Sounds like something you would say, yeah.
Something like that. I was absolutely shocked when I saw him finish him in the last round. I literally nearly backflipped out of my chair. I was like, holy fuck, that's just brilliant. Like, you know, it's great to see, wasn't it? You know, it was so exciting. Like, and wow, he has some power, doesn't he? Like, he unbelievable. Does. But like, Jesus. And you know, here, like, he took him down and everything. Like, it wasn't like a whitewash. Like, he did well, like, you know. Like, look, and you know, I'm gonna turn it back to what I just said. It's not the gym, it's the training. It's not the gym, it's the training. There's not a lot of big names coming out of that gym. And now Glover Teixeira and Alex Pereira are like, you know, if he beats Jiri in the rematch, it's light heavyweight and middleweight champions, like, you know, out of a gym that nobody knows who else fights out of that gym, you know.
Yeah,
it's amazing to see, you know. And thought that was amazing. I'm still frustrated with Michael Chandler because I think he's just asking to get cut in the field. Like he's going down this route where the UFC are going to keep him because he's good for business, but he's going to not win any fights because he's just not using any. He's like there was a concept I was teaching in MMA the last day about because it's such an athletic based sport. Like MMA is far more athletic based than jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is far more technically based, you know. So in MMA, we're always trying to, let's just say, for example, anybody that knows, I hope people listening have some sort of baseline knowledge of jiu-jitsu, but let's just say in MMA, because it's such an athletic based sport, you take somebody down, we never prioritize mount or side control. We prioritize half guard top or leg mount, because they're technical positions. and we want to try and make it a technical match as opposed to an athletic match. Like, because MMA is like super explosive, isn't it? You know.
Mm.
Mm.
So where can he go? Is it like you would have imagined that Chandler beats Poirier? There's a clear kind of, okay, well maybe I need a crack at the lightweight title. And for Dustin it's kind of the same thing. I don't know if he needs another title shot or needs to get in with Islam.
I think that's a terrible matchup, and I don't think anybody would really look forward to that. I feel like that it doesn't make sense to show Dustin in against Makhachev, or maybe a rematch against Oliveira, maybe, I don't know, but I definitely feel like Chandler is still thinking too much of others and trying to be the entertainer than trying to win fights.
Yeah.
Like, he's in here trying to brawl with guys, and it's so frustrating to watch, because it's like he was so close to winning that fight. He was like keeping that lovely structure with the technical side of the game by taking him down, holding him in nice positions, peppering him just to get in the win column, But he just makes these silly athletic mistakes, like how did that happen with Poirier taking his back? I mean, it was just such an amateur thing to do, and no offense to him, but we can all be amateurs even as pros when we let emotions and we let the moment get to us a bit. We just do wild things that make no sense to our actual training, and I think Chandler is in that bracket. Yeah, he's exciting, but from a professional point of view, he needs to stop right now, because he's not going to fulfill his career the way he would have liked to have finished it, because he's just trying to be too much of an entertainer, using his athleticism too much, and losing fights with guys who are just technically better,
Okay. This coming weekend, Friday night, New York, the PFL World Championship, end of the season is done and dusted. Kayla Harrison and Larissa Pacheco, Brendan Loughnane and Bubba Jenkins for the featherweight title. We've got a heavyweight matchup of Matthias Scheffel and Ante Delia. Aspen Ladd has signed with the UFC as well. It's going to take on Julia Budd, who missed out on the women's featherweight side of things. So I think was she involved in maybe it was just the featherweight end of things. And there's a whole fairly busy card, load of showcase fights, one or two amateur fights. But the big ones are
amateur fights.
Yeah, they've got an amateur fight on the card as well. Ali Walsh and Tom Gracer at lightweight on the ESPN Plus card. And then the division that you were involved in earlier this year, Stevie Ray and Olivier Aubin-Mercier for the lightweight honors. $1 million on the line. $1 million on the line for
that's probably
anybody.
That's probably like 600,000, really.
Yeah, I suppose. What's the deal there? So, like, if you win it in New York, do you have to pay all of your tax in New York?
You have to pay all the tax in New York. You have to pay all the tax in Ireland. Then you have to pay managers. Then you have to pay coaches. Yeah.
Okay, so the wind up, you have enough for the plane fare home and probably spending money for a bit of Christmas. Like,
they'll come out with a few quid, but like, I mean, people see $1 million and they go, "Oh yeah, it's not even like, no, it's not like that."
Not even remotely close. Will you watch it? Will you have an eye on it?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm good friends with Stevie Ray. He's a good mate of mine. So I've been chatting to him away, and sure, yeah. I really hope. I actually like Oliver Saint Mercer as well. I think he's a great guy. Like, sure, or Aubin Mercer. Sorry, he actually kind of stood up for me in regards to Pettis looking for extra time when I first fought in the promotion. And he
Okay.
was like, well, that's bullshit because like he's getting star treatment. What about Miles and stuff like that? So he's a great guy too. Like there's actually like 3 guys that I really drew to that I thought were just really great human beings. Was Alex, forget his, Martinez, Oliver, and Stevie. Mainly Stevie because we grew up on the European scene kind of together. So
Yeah.
I like as much as I like Oliver, I am rooting for Steven. So because but I think it's going to be a fantastic fight.
Any thoughts on Brendan Loughnane's matchup? He's had a nice little run in there as well.
He has. It's a tough fight.
Yeah.
It's hard to know, really, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I think the last time I watched Bubba Jenkins fight was back in Brave. He'd been parachuted in for a vacant featherweight title fight, I think, a couple of years ago. But legit looks like a very tough matchup for Brendan.
Yeah, he is a tough matchup for Brendan, and Brendan's no slouch. It's going to be a good fight. I'm not sure who to call. Like my mind is saying Brendan. But okay. I mean, it's hard to know.
Can anybody stop Kayla Harrison?
Unless she comes off the juice only, Messon. I don't know if she's on juice. She's buffed though. What was I gonna say? Probably not. Like,
okay.
She is like a big, strong woman. She has unbelievably good jiu-jitsu, and her judo. And like anybody that has ever trained with like judo style guys, they're competitors, their top pressure is just immense, really, really tough to get off you. So no, I just can't see. I think if she was in the UFC, she'd be champion as well. I just think she's that good. Like she's very good. Yeah.
Could you see a move away from PFL if she takes well, even whether she takes the win or not? I mean, this would be a 3rd straight year in a row.
I don't know why. I don't know why she'd move, if I was being honest with you. Like, if you go to the only reason why you'd go somewhere else is for pride. That's it. I want to be the best in the world. I don't care if I take a pay hit. I've got enough money as it is. Yeah. I just want to go in and beat everybody up. That's the only reason why she'd do it. Like, why would you leave PFL? Like, every year you're getting $1 million, nearly guaranteed. Like,
well, that in her position it is, and to be fair, while the structure of the early part of the season has things fairly fairly condensed. Like, what did you wind up with? Like 3 fights in 2 months or something, and some others you got 4 weeks between them, or 5 weeks between them, or 6 weeks. Fight. And there's a lot of kind of fight management that has to happen. You do have a scenario where you can kind of afford a little bit of balance to your life as well. If you know that the window that you are going to be fighting in year on year is, for argument's sake, April to November, and then you've got this 5-month window where you can train and recuperate and go on holidays and do kind of other stuff with your life, and then move back into the fight game, and then move back into the life game. It strikes me as a more reasonable balance to have, as opposed to jumping into an organization like Bellator, like UFC, where it's like, sure, you might fight here and you might fight there, and we're not entirely sure, and you'll get a bit of notice or you get short notice. Yeah, I can see the arguments from that side. And beyond that, I think that's about it. That's a nice place to wind things down. Is there anything else that's crept across your own radar for the week?
No, not really. I think that's it really. Like, got you a good bit there today. I think I think the only thing I'd probably like to finish on is how excited I am for Volkanovski versus Makhachev. I think that's going to be great.
That, when it comes to pass, will be an almighty night.
It will be great. Will be great, and I hope it's in Abu Dhabi again or somewhere like that where you can watch it at a normal time. You know, isn't it great though, Ken? Like in fairness,
I think they should put.
you know,
I think they should put all the fights out there. I mean, I know the
way,
UFC
bro.
loves
Yeah,
Vegas,
yeah.
but like, just fly everybody out for the week, let them do their thing, and we can all watch it. At a, you know, it seems to be the time zone where it doesn't have too much of an impact on Vegas people. It doesn't have any real impact on European viewers. I say Vegas people, I mean the US audience, and on European viewers. And it's, you know, it's also palatable for anybody living, you know, near enough to the other side of the world if you're coming like from Australia backwards.
It's great. It's great. Do you know what we need to do as well? We need to actually, anytime if there's we gotta definitely do that too. But I mean, if it's in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
And it's on normal time zones, we'll meet up for a few drinks and watch the UFC together. We haven't done that. We're doing an MMA podcast every week. We gotta have a few brewskis and watch the UFC. Well,
I'm sure we can do that. We do have one more card left
with all the bounties.
All of the oh yeah, excellent. I love the celebration. I do. But unfortunately we're not going to have any more I don't think we have any like reasonably priced or reasonably houred side of things. We do have a fight night. The last fight night of the year is Sunday the 18th of December. Main event doesn't get underway until midnight. You've got UFC 282, which is coming up. That's the Glover Teixeira and the Yuri light heavyweight rematch. That is 3 a.m. Main card starts Sunday. Actually Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev are in there. So Paddy Pimblett is on that card too. Seemingly he has about 50 pounds to drop.
Which one?
In 4 weeks. This is the UFC 282 card. And Robbie Lawler is back in action as well. I'd imagine Robbie's got to be sitting close to finishing up.
Here, Ilya Topuria versus Bryce Mitchell. What a fight. Wow.
At featherweight, and at featherweight and at a way too. Like Ilya hasn't lost a fight yet. Bryce has been beaten just the once.
Yeah, that's right.
In quite a few years.
And Darren Till's on that card.
On the undercard. Oh, it'll be the feature fight of the undercard. Hopefully that goes through. I know he's had a few fights that may have changed on him in the last
50 pounds. What's 50 pounds in kg again, bro? My God, man. That lad needs to talk to a therapist. That's mental. Like, I mean, you got to start copping onto that stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, he likes to have his victory pizza followed by another victory pizza followed by another victory pizza. But he's confident. He's confident in completing the drop. No problem.
22.7 kilos.
Yeah, I saw a quote from him during the week that read something like one of his previous weight cuts. Not sure if it was a UFC weight cut. He needed to shift 8.4 kilos overnight. And at the moment, out of the 22 odd that he has to lose, he's down to 9 remaining, and he's 4 weeks out.
Dude, look. No matter what way you put it, right? There's no healthy. It's not healthy to lose 22.7 kg for any fight camp. That is just, you're asking to be like, it's just no. I mean, it's funny for everybody watching, but he's the one who's going to have to pay the repercussions of that, like in the future, you know.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens come December. I've no doubt he will be back in there, and I would imagine he will be back in there on weight.
He's looking good. I looked at him the last day, and he was because I was watching Cage Warriors, and he looked pretty trim. In fairness to him,
yeah, like he certainly has the ability for him. And then if he does come through it, and the result goes in his favor, I think 2023 is going to be a big year for Paddy Pimblett. At least where the UFC is concerned. But on that note, before we run out of time altogether, this has been All Things MMA. He's been Moritz Price. I've been Ken McGuire. Scoreline.ie has the details and the archive. You get episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening. And we will do this again, presumably, possibly next week. Good luck.